The Generation 10 of Pokemon leaks are about to get so spicy. We've got a ton of news to break down for you guys, so let's dive in. If you've been following the channel, that you know through the Terra leak that there are some massive Generation 10 leaks coming for Pokemon Wind and Waves, which is what we're anticipating the titles to be called based on the Terra leak data mine. Now, we've covered a little bit here, but the data miners have been kind of holding it back, except for the fact that there is a new data miner named Moot and a Discord server that has been going crazy, diving through these files and ultimately looking to uncover a ton of information over the next few days. Now, as we head into the year of 2026 and ultimately the next generation of Pokemon, it's anticipated that on Pokemon Day at the end of February next year, that they are going to ultimately announce Generation 10 and kind of lay the roadmap out for what is going to happen in the next games of Pokemon. I fully anticipate that announcement at the end of February with a game launch title in fall or winter of 2026. So that's something to look forward to, and we're going to have all that information right here on the channel. So if you're excited about leaks and news and updates, make sure you guys follow the channel and, of course, subscribe, like the video down below. But let's talk about all the cool information that's come out so far. This I find quite interesting because the user Moot has come out and said, listen, we've been diving through this data in the data mine, and we're going to give the data miners just until Christmas to release this information. If they don't release it, then we're going to release it. And there's a ton of stuff that they've been able to uncover through this data mine. We're going to cover all of that stuff right now. They have a conceptual Gaia region map, which is basically the map of the region, which is what Central made his doodle off of. We know it's based on kind of the different islands. You're going to basically have a bunch of different smaller islands. You're going to be able to explore all these different islands. They counted about 30 islands in the beta map. It's worth noting that, of course, all this stuff is subject to change, but worth noting. They said that there's new pics of the build being played, so people are actually playing this pre-build through the Terra leak, which is pretty wild. There should be new pictures of this being able to be viewed, including combat scenes. Again, very early footage, but still very interesting nonetheless. The first proper look-ish at Majin. Majin is thought to be these kind of winds, this kind of weather system, these kind of almost Titan-esque Pokemon that seem to be kind of floating around. It'll be really interesting to see what happens here, but apparently the theme of this game is going to basically be weather. We've dove into weather themes in Pokemon in the past with the Weather Wars of Generation 4 and beyond, and I think that there's a lot to explore there. It makes me think of Wind Waker a little bit, but there's a lot to be explored there, and through some of the early footage we've seen some kind of underwater cyclones and some like tornado type stuff going on. So it does seem as though that the weather patterns and how weather is implemented in this game could be done so in a very big way. There is some pictures of various characters, which I find to be very fascinating. We may end up meeting some of these characters in the very early stages of Generation 10. And then probably the most important thing and the biggest thing is that there is an animal of one of the starter Pokemon, which is crazy. Imagine us being able to decipher or know what one of the 3 starter Pokemon is going to be based off of. That is some massive stuff right there. They also are going to highlight a general idea of the current leakscape and much, much more. All will be forwarded to the public on Christmas Day, both here and on Twitter. I'll do a live stream to answer questions. Gatekeepers have 11 days to maintain their relevance and dump what they have. Happy holidays. Shout outs to Moot Monthly for throwing down and bringing this information to light. And they're going to come to the table with some big stuff in a big way here for Generation 10. And of course, we're going to cover it here on the channel and break it all down. But man, oh man, how crazy would it be to get a new starter Pokemon, figure out what animal it's going to be based off of, get some new combat footage, all that stuff. I think that could be really, really sweet. And again, I don't think we're going to have to wait long for the Gen 10 reveal. I really don't. I think Pokemon Day is the perfect timing for this. It's also worth noting that next year is, of course, the 30th anniversary of Pokemon. Lines up perfectly with Generation 10. I have no doubt about it. The next thing I want to talk about is incredibly interesting, related to the Switch 2 and Generation 10. But before I do that, I want to let you guys know that I'm developing my own monster catching franchise called Elestrals, and we've been crushing it. We actually just set the record for the most funded video game in 2025 on Kickstarter with Elestrals Awaken, my amazing RPG. You guys can check out the channel as I've been posting short form videos and all sorts of updates there. But we also have an amazing trading card game that I would love for you guys to get a part of. You can pick up starter decks at our store at shopelestrals.com. I'll have a link in the description below. Our starter decks are loaded with the best cards in the game. They have a chance at getting a serialized Stellar Rare, which is kind of like our version of Shinies, and the gameplay is super fun. We have an amazing community. We're in hundreds and hundreds of stores across the world. We have an amazing community in Discord and beyond. We do online tournaments. Our World Championships is coming. It is a great time, and if you're someone who loves Pokemon, You're gonna love Elestrals. I'm building something truly special here. I know you guys have seen me kind of dabble on the channel here over the last couple of years, but I put my heart and soul into this game, so check it out, man. If you're looking for something to treat yourself for the holidays, pick up a starter deck, one of the live stream starter decks. There's 4 different options. They're all amazing. You can pick the Artemis lunar deck, you can pick the Aphrodite water deck, which is probably the strongest. Dionysus and Earth is phenomenal, and last but not least is Kione and Frost, the Frost element. 8 elements to choose, 4 in live stream, so don't miss out. Check the link in the description below. Head over to shopelestrals.com, pick up a starter deck, and don't forget to show some love and wishlist the Awakened RPG on Steam. Now, this next bit of information is incredibly interesting. Central Leaks comes out with this, and this is some crazy stuff. I'm gonna read it for you guys. With the Pokemon Legends ZA data mine coming to an end, the era of Pokemon data mines in general is also ending. As Switch 2 will likely remain unhackable for a couple years at least, data mines will now be a thing of the past. Starting next year with Gen 10, we will no longer know all the Pokemon stats until people manually do the math. We will no longer be able to know the shiny rates or shiny locks for certain. We won't be able to know anything about unreleased Pokemon or unreleased abilities. It will be a new era of secrets, speculation, and rumors. And while it will be very different, we're tremendously excited for it. We'll continue bringing you information for years to come. And I'm going to echo that same sentiment here. This is about to be the Wild West of rumors, leaks, and more. We have this Terra leak in front of us where we're going to dive into over the next few days. With Christmas coming and Mood coming out with more information, that's going to be really epic. But this brings up a really interesting point about how when we head into Gen 10, assuming it is a Switch 2 exclusive, which I think we're all kind of expecting that to be the case, you're not going to be able to data mine it. The data miners are not going to have hacked Switch 2s to be able to access information. So outside of potential Pokemon home leaks, we're really going in blind, and it brings me back to kind of some of the early days of Pokemon X and Y where there was no hacks, and a lot of information had to be kind of discovered by the community. This, for one, gets me incredibly excited. Incredibly excited. That doesn't mean there's not going to be leaks, though. That doesn't mean, because we know we have insiders like Riddler Koo who will share information from time to time. So I do think that there's a chance that we still get leaks, but we're not going to have the big data mine when a game comes out, which means we're entering a new era of Pokemon. And that's honestly part of the reason I'm back in full force. Is I'm super excited about the Generation 10 of Pokemon and coming back as a content creator to bring you guys the updates, the news, the gameplay, the Let's Plays, the shiny hunting, whatever it may be. We're going to have a blast with it, and it's going to be oh so good, man. I'm very excited for the future of Pokemon as we head to Gen 10. But again, we're going to get some information soon. I think that there's 2 things that are on my radar. One is Pokemon Day, end of February, the 30th anniversary. Gen 10 is probably going to get announced, and it'll likely come out in the fall or winter of 2026. And 2, I still think there's a tiny chance that there is a second Legends ZA DLC. I'm not sold on it, but I wouldn't be surprised. Like, I could see them announcing it on Pokemon Day and then shadow dropping it or releasing it a few months later. But I went into the Mega Dimension DLC thinking it was going to come out on Pokemon Day, and then they just dropped it so early. There's still room for them to release another one. There's mythicals that aren't in the game. I think that they can expand upon shiny hunting. There's a lot of things they can do with it, for sure. More megas, right? I think that they can very easily add more mega evolutions. So it could be quite interesting to see what they end up doing with that. But man, oh man, we got a lot to look forward to. Pokeopia coming out. I think next year is going to be a crazy year for the Pokemon franchise. So make sure you guys stay tuned, man. Like the video, subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on all the news, updates, and more. And of course, check out my game Elestrals. Like I said, I've been working on this game for the last couple of years. It's been incredible. We're setting records. We've got our RPG video game in the development. It's going to be phenomenal. And of course, we got our amazing trading card games. You guys can pick up a starter deck or a booster box and more at shopelestrals.com. Thanks so much for watching this one. I'll keep you guys posted as more info comes out. I'll see you guys soon.